Frank O'Connor from Bungie Studios. I'm content manager for Bungie.net. Well, I've been here for more than 48 hours while we do the Halo review event. Basically, the timing and the scheduling of the game meant that we had to bring people to this hotel suite in San Francisco, and they're all sitting here with surround headphones, playing the game on 30-inch widescreen HD TVs, and hopefully having fun. So today is the final day. Today is multiplayer, and before this they've all played through the single-player campaign. So the campaign mode is, it's story-driven, of course, primarily story-driven. You can do all the stuff that you've seen in the multiplayer. You can dual wield, you can board vehicles, but mostly we're continuing the story from where we left off on Halo. So Covenant of Found Earth, and among your first missions is battling them on the streets of Earth, and that's pretty much where the game sets off. A little more to it than that. There'll be a few surprises for people right in the first 5 minutes of the game. There's definitely more to the plot. I mean, I think that the characters and scenarios that you encounter in Halo 2 are a lot deeper and richer than those in Halo. Part of that is just because events have accelerated and built up so much since the first game that there's a lot more going on. There are more characters, there are more events, the story is played out on a bigger dramatic canvas. Not to be too pretentious about it, but that's really how it is. I think that if you read the Halo novels, you'll definitely get some useful background information on the Covenant politics, the human hierarchy, the locations, and some of the events. There's some cool details in there that apply nicely to the game, but you absolutely don't need to read them, but most people who do read them seem to enjoy them, so I'd certainly recommend it just for a good read. So the new gameplay is stuff a lot of Halo fans are probably familiar with, having read the message boards and magazines for the last year or two. So we have dual wielding. You can dual wield any weapon that you can hold, like a pistol. Obviously you can't dual wield 2 sniper rifles or 2 bazookas or anything like that. So we've implemented a bunch of subtle balancing tricks with the combinations of weapons, especially, and I think players are going to have fun trying out different types of weapons in dual wielding mode. Try Needler with a pistol, say, and see how that works out. In single player, you'll find that boarding is a huge deal. It's not a gimmick. You need vehicles to get around, and you also can pretty successfully stop a dangerous vehicle by boarding it, as well as simply stealing it. So if you're being attacked by a plasma mortar hurtling wraith tank, then boarding is actually a pretty significant way to stop it. So boarding is pretty basic for some vehicles. The Ghost, for example, you just press and hold X if you're near a slow-moving Ghost and you're pointed at it, and you'll knock off the driver and take over. On a Wraith, for example, it gets more complicated. The driver's in a sealed compartment, so the only way you can get him out of it is to pummel him to death and then hoist him out. So there's variations in boarding. Boarding a passenger seat has a different effect, obviously, than boarding a driver's seat. And you can even board the Banshee. Maybe one of the coolest things you can do in multiplayer is take a flying leap from a ledge, fall 50 feet, land on top of a Banshee, haul the pilot out, chuck him to his death, and take off in the Banshee. And it never gets any less humiliating when that happens to you. I think very, very simply put, players are going to understand very quickly, maybe within an hour or two of starting the game, why we haven't revealed any of the single-player storyline. Events and circumstances change in such a dramatic fashion that to even hint at what it is would be to ruin a nice, pleasant, or unpleasant surprise. So things that have changed since you last saw multiplayer is that we basically opened up a lot of things that weren't available to you during the beta. A lot of rules. You can customize game types to be however you want. You can have touch flag to return. You can have any time limit you like. Place or remove vehicles and weapons from maps. Do whatever the heck you like. We've also revealed a bunch more maps. The one behind me isn't necessarily terribly new, but the people here at this event will have seen some new maps. Some of them are cool. Colossus is a fantastic map, huge environment, really beautifully lit, lots of places to hide, but also lots of moving, exploding, and bouncing objects, which makes it kind of a trip. Old favorites, Zanzibar, you're used to it, but it's been improved. It has nicer water. It's a little tighter. Some of the gameplay's been tuned, mostly invisible stuff. And basically, we've just opened up all the stuff that was there that we just didn't have the chance to show the press yet. So you have 12 levels to start with in the game, multiplayer. Obviously, We're going to have some downloadable content later. And also, really hardcore players might find some pleasant surprises in the multiplayer map list if they look hard enough. So hardcore Halo fans, I think, are going to, within the first hour of playing, they're going to pick up a lot of the new techniques, weapons, and features of the game. And then they're going to start finding the subtleties, the way that weapon combos work out, and the way that weapon balance and level balance works out. I think, though, more importantly, that mainstream players who play on Xbox Live are going to find that the barrier to entry is greatly lowered. I mean, you can go in, having never played the game before, and play against people of your skill level. That allows you to improve. That means you play people with a little better skill level, because the game carefully tracks how good you are at it and what your experience is. So you should be enjoying compelling, challenging games that are never too easy and never too hard for a long time.
Well, most of the casting was mostly done as you would cast for a movie. We picked people who were best suited to the role. So you'll see people like Ron Perlman and Tim Dadavo and a bunch of returning characters. Obviously, Cortana is back and Sergeant Johnson are back. But the AI cast is not only pretty funny sometimes, can be serious too. But we have some real Halo fans in the cast. We have Michelle Rodriguez, we have David Cross, we have a few other surprises. I think people are going to enjoy hearing the AI cast speak and interacting with them. Try giving them a crappy weapon in exchange for their rocket launchers. You'll elicit some pretty funny responses for that. I think the first thing that fans should look for in 2 days when they pick up a game is Bungie employees trying to enjoy 1 or 2 days of glory while we have a huge advantage over hardcore players. Well, we know the maps and we know the weapons, so look for us. We'll be the guy who just stabbed you from behind from an impossible height.